folks, BlackCross here, and welcome to the first of what I hope to be many more videos along the way of BlackCross random highlight reels. Or in this case, random shit that just happens and I thought it was pretty cool, or I thought it was pretty funny just to showcase. Seems like a highlight reel sounds better, but point is that we all have these moments. You know, the gaming moment of pride, and back in the old days, there wasn't really a way to have these saved up to where you can rewatch them again, or to prove that this happened to you. Well, thanks to today's technology, we now have the capture feature on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Don't know about the Switch. I think it has that feature. Someone may want to quote me on that. Willing to bet you Delmar will. Anyway though, the point that this video is supposed to prove is that it's supposed to showcase some of the more weirder, if not some of the more funnier stuff that happens to me. So, some of these are glitches, some of these are just random awesome achievements that I was able to pull off. So obviously this is a clip of the Zodiac quest thing for Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep 0.2 Fragmentary Passage. And everyone basically states that this is the hardest thing that you will have to fight. And I could be the one to say this today, that yes, they are correct. It is the hardest thing you will have to fight, even on the easiest difficulty. Listen to what I say, the easiest difficulty. It is still pretty hard to deal with. I was lucky enough to finally be here on the easiest difficulty, and it's just, oh gosh, you talk about difficult. This boss will test your patience on how well you can navigate her moves, as well as how to fight her. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't see me beating this. If you are lucky enough to beat her above easy, then you deserve a medal. If you're like me and you just want to get the trophy saying you beat the Zodiac achievement, or beat the Zodiac objective, then yeah. But in some cases, sometimes it's not easy. And I have to say, with the exception of the Lingering Will, because of it being a cheese boss, this is the hardest boss you will have to fight. As far as I know, there is no cheese method. There is just know what she's going to do and learn how to evade it. And that's all it is. This next clip is obviously from Bloodborne, and if you are aware of what I've been doing lately, I've probably played a lot more Bloodborne than I care to admit, even though there are 3 games of Dark Souls. But Bloodborne is by itself, and I absolutely like the game for what it is. But with that being said, Bloodborne always seems to have a chance of having like some bugs or glitches. In this game's case, or in this particular clip's case, it's happened twice. First time, I ran into this ghost little witch thing, which if you don't know what these things are, these get summoned by the witches of Hemrick. And before you kill her, these will show up throughout the area itself before you get to the boss. And, well, let's put it this way, the first time I got through here, well not the first time, but the first time I went through here, in my recent playthrough, all of a sudden it decided to go downward. I don't know what happened that made it do that, but yeah, it just went downward. Now the second time I went through, it decided to go upward. Apparently it can't make up its mind. It's like, okay, this is just a little bit weird. I just thought that was like, okay, okay, bye. That was all I did. That's all I did. Just, okay, bye. Okay, so this is from the game Nioh. So in Nioh, there are missions and then there are side missions. And within these side missions, sometimes they can be relatively easy to go through. Some of them a lot more difficult. And I think this is probably the most irritating part about the game itself, is the fact that the difficulty gets even harder within the main game. Although lately, with the new DLC that they release harder difficulty. I think now we're up to like Way of the Wise now. We were at like the Way of the Strong, Way of the Demon, and then Way of the Wise. And I'm like, I'm barely able to get through Way of the Demon, so screw Way of the Wise. But at any rate though, I was basically going through completing side missions and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I got to this one mission where basically it's a 4-stage boss fight. And within this 4-stage boss fight, I was lucky enough to get through 3 stages before finally getting to the 4th stage and realizing I was outmatched. I did beat it, but not without having to go through a lot of trial and error. But the point is that this particular boss fight, for some reason, I ended up getting it glitched in its death animation, and it basically got stuck there. And normally when it gets stuck there, it usually gets stuck for like a good, like maybe 10 seconds at most. No, this was like probably closer to 2 or 3 minutes at the entire time. And throughout this entire fight, as you're witnessing right now, it stays there. So listen to what you are hearing, because it stays there. Yeah, it stayed like that throughout the entire time until like halfway through the 3rd boss, and unfortunately I died. Yeah, absolutely annoying but weird glitch moment. Failed. No surprise, considering this Nioh. Now, just to talk about something interesting when it comes to video games, sometimes there'll be some gameplay that you're playing the game, and then all of a sudden you notice something that you usually do all the time. You notice something interesting about something, and you're like, was that there the entire time? And in this game's case, it was that not there the entire time? So going back through my previous playthrough and everything like that, I was like, he has no arms. He has no arms. Dude, you have no forearms. You have your hands, you have your shoulders. Where are your arms? That was like the weirdest thing, and I think it was like that the entire time I was playing the game. And after finally noticing it, it never got fixed. I'm like, that has been there the entire time I played The Witcher 3. What the hell? I mean, the door physics was one thing, and seeing the horse trying to climb a mountain was another thing. But this thing right here, this is an in-game cutscene, technically. This is an in-game cutscene that happens. This character has no arms. How do you live your entire life knowing you have hands, but you have no arms that connects to them? Now, this particular part within the video, I'm going to explain you a story. So, you guys know James, right?
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, that guy. Well, he has been trying to get on me to trying to play through Dark Souls 3 in a Soul Level 1 playthrough. And this is after I had played Level 1 playthrough with Kingdom Hearts 1. And I'm like, no, so much no. I literally has told him no 1,000 times, I want to say. But he then convinced me to do something else, and that was basically playing through a figure playthrough only, where basically you play through Dark Souls and you only level up your figure. And I was like, well, we're leveling up something. We're not leveling up our strength. We're not leveling up our we're not leveling up anything. We're just leveling up our HP. So I thought, I mean, you might as well say, but we have a handicap, so why not? honestly, this was actually the most funnest we've had because we actually lasted a lot longer in certain situations that we never thought we would last longer in. In this particular case, we got or rather I got invaded, and basically me and him was trying to summon each other. I was trying to summon him, but for some reason I couldn't see a summon sign. So either he was getting invaded and he didn't realize it, or I was getting invaded by multiple people and I couldn't summon any more people, because I think the most you can summon is like 6, 3 in terms of player characters, and probably like 3 others in terms of invasion rate. Like you can have 3 phantoms and you can have 3 summons, and then I think, depending on if a sentinel shows up or not, you can have like maybe 1 or 2. I don't remember. But the point is that I got invaded, and then a sentinel showed up. Unfortunately, the sentinel died. So therefore, I ended up having to fight this guy because he was starting to get on my nerves, and I couldn't wait for James to get for me to summon him. So I just decided to fight him. And we fought this guy like maybe like 2 times total. 1 on his end and 1 on my end. But the point is, I was fighting him the entire time, and he kept using Estus flasks. Like, who knows how many times he had to use it. I think he had a full max Estus flask. But the entire time he's fighting me, he's trying to figure out, okay, dude, how are you not dying? And keep in mind, we only been leveling up our figure this entire time. We've only been leveling that up. I'm barely doing much of any damage. He's dealing a lot of damage to me, but I have a humongous HP pool that he doesn't know what to do with it. So finally I got to a point where he basically ran out of Estus flask. And it was like the best thing ever. Here's the scene. Watch it.
Coming up here, fat bastard. I'm sure he's gonna be like, have we met before? Cause it's the same guy that I fought. Yeah, it's the same guy. It's like the same fat bastard that we fought earlier. Go right ahead, even though I'm about ready to kill him. Never mind, he healed himself, damn it. Yeah, keep on using your Estus, see how long you last. I won! The poor guy used all of his Estus and he's like, how are you not dead, I bet?
So yeah, that was probably the best I think I've ever had. Okay, so in the figure run that me and him done, there have been a couple of times that we've seen some close encounters. By close encounters, I mean we've had our fair share of invasions, we've had our fair share of witnessing certain stuff. But one of the things that I thought was so freaking hilarious was this.
The profane capital.
I cannot stress this enough. I don't know what happened to the game at that point of time, because every single time I played through Dark Souls 3, I never had that happen, of where it just all of a sudden missed. Just all of a sudden, it missed. By a freaking foot, in game perspective, that is. But it just... I just couldn't help it. It always landed there every time. And that one time, all of a sudden, it just, whoopsie, we forgot to code this part into the boss because you did something that made the game not realize it. So, yeah. It was... Oh, gosh. Oh man, it was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing for like 10 minutes. I want to say it was that funny. Oh gosh. And finally, the last thing that I wanted to go ahead and talk about is Final Fantasy 15 related. Now, before Final Fantasy 15 got into its like major DLC and patches and stuff like that, it had a lot of glitches. I mean, a lot of people started to see these glitches being a big issue, a big problem. And keep in mind, this is like before the Crown patch. You know, and before it even got released, it was going to install, they were going to put in patches to the main game that they were afraid that players was not going to receive. And this is good news. This was good news to hear, because I figured, yes, they're actually going to make it better before day one patch. What did they do after the game got released? It got a patch called Crown Patch. What the hell? Anyway, though, that's a different story. The point is that the game still has a few glitches, but not to where you couldn't get them or get around that particular situation. Usually it would involve loading the game back to its previous save state, and you've got it fixed. In this game's case, it was a moment of where it was like, yes, it happened, it was inactive, but at the same time, it didn't happen. So, as you'll see in just a sec, basically, Noctis and Gain are still flying in their Regalia flying model, and I'm fixing to land on the road, because I was fixing to enter into Hammerhead. Well, as you can clearly see right here in this little diagram here, it's still there. The road, that part of the road, is technically there. Now, sometimes it does take a while for the game to render stuff, like for example, this mountain over here. It took a while for it to render, and then it just pops up all of a sudden. Sometimes it happens. But when this right here is already rendered in, what happens when you're driving through like you normally do, and all of a sudden, it just disappeared? Now, I'm not fooling around when I say this, okay? The road was technically there, and then it was not there. And what's even weird, the car registered the fact that it wasn't there. It registered the fact that it was just purely a dirt surface. Then, when it got back on the corner of the road, it resumed its normal position. Then, all of a sudden, the road came back. I cannot stress this whenever I say this. I feel as if someone was trying to jerk me around. It was the oddest glitch I have ever seen. And keep in mind, I'm not an expert when it comes to graphics and stuff like that. But I do know that if something is pre-rendered already, then it should stay there. Then why did it disappear? If anyone has an answer to that, please let me know. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed this highlight reel that I put together, because quite frankly there were some interesting stories to talk about, but at the same time there was some rather odd stuff that happens to me. And keep in mind, this was all within 2017. Who knows what glitches or encounterments I'm going to have in 2018. But I'm sure, as you guys will know, I'll try to save those, and we'll have another one next year. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Take care, guys.